Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to Impact. My name is Pastor Tyler, and I want to thank you for joining us this week for our virtual Devo. Wherever you're logging on from right now, we hope that this message lifts you up and encourages you today. Our text today is just one verse, and it comes from 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12. It says this: "Don't let anyone think less of you because you are young. Be an example to all believers in what you say, in the way you live, in your love, your faith, and your purity." For today's Devo, I want to talk to you about the subject of inspiration. First, let's start with a quick definition. What does the word inspiration even mean? Simply put, the word inspire means to put breath into or to breathe life into something. So to give inspiration means to breathe air or to breathe life into other people. Now that we have a solid definition down, I want to give you a few key points today when it comes to inspiring other people. Number one, your age does not limit your inspiration. Our verse says, "Don't let anyone think less of you because you are young." Have you ever felt like people looked down on you or discredited you because of your age? I know I have. Sometimes that pushes us to the background and we think that we are insignificant. Even now during this crisis, we put all the attention on the big people, the adults. We look at all the attention that's put on the people on the TV networks and the news stations, and we think that we can just fly under the radar. But understand that now is not the time for us to fade into the background. It's actually the time that we should be coming to the forefront. You have influence during this time. You have the ability to inspire other people, whether that's your peers, your family, your government. Your voice has a power right now. It doesn't matter if you are young. Age is not a factor here. There are countless stories of young people who changed the world and inspired other people. You could be one of them. Number two, be the example, not the exception. Our verse goes on to tell us to be an example to all believers. I think sometimes people present their lives as an exception rather than an example to live by. They're usually one of the best at something, or they've achieved this status in life that's very high and it's really inspiring, but really it's unattainable for most of us. You might see these guys all over YouTube that have these big mansions and they've got 10 cars in their driveway. They've got 2 Olympic pools with a water park and maybe even a pet tiger. They talk about how they just have normal lives and do normal things, and they try to inspire you by saying if you just follow them or if you just buy their program, that you can live a life just like them. But it's simply not true at all. While a lifestyle like that may be enticing and inspiring to a lot of us, it's really not the standard that we're meant to follow. It's just not realistic, and it's not the model that we're meant to live by. The good news is when it comes to the Christian walk, none of us are an exception. Not one of us is better than the other or lives a life that is so hard to attain or match. The reason is we're not trying to follow the crowd and do what everybody else is doing. We're trying to follow the example that Christ set, and in turn, we try to set that example for other people. Keyword try. That goes into the very heart of our third and last point today. Number 3, true inspiration points up. Think back to our definition of inspire, to breathe air or life into something. Do you know who the author of all breath and all life is? God. He breathed His air and His life into our lungs, and He gives us a reason to live in the first place. So when somebody is being truly inspirational, they won't point back at themselves, they'll point back to God. They'll give Him the glory and the honor and the credit that He deserves. Let me give you a quick example of somebody who inspired me in this way. When I was in high school, one of my favorite football players to watch was Tim Tebow. Tim would make these amazing plays, and when he would score a touchdown, he would take a moment to take a knee, bow his head, say a quick prayer, and then point back up, giving the glory to God. This is a pretty popular thing now known as Tebowing. So while all the eyes were on Tim and he made an amazing play, he made a touchdown, he did something great for his team, he turned that inspiration and he pointed it back to God in that moment. Tim wanted to inspire people, but he didn't want to inspire them to be like him. He wanted to inspire them to be like Jesus. So while you may be amazed or inspired by something somebody else did, know that the glory, the focus should always be pointing back up to God. How about you? When you do something inspiring, are you pointing everything back to yourself, Or are you pointing it back to God? So there you have it with a few quick points on inspiration. Remember, our age doesn't limit our inspiration. We should be the example, not the exception. And number 3, true inspiration points up. Let me close with 2 quick questions for you today. Number 1, who is inspiring you? And number 2, who are you wanting to inspire today? Let us know right now in the comments below and be thinking about that this week. Thank you again for joining us for our virtual Devo this week. We hope that you were blessed and strengthened by this message. Don't forget to like, comment, share, follow, subscribe with notifications on so you never miss any of our content here at Impact. God bless you, everybody. Have an amazing week.